Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Saturday. This is Game Day Live, coming to you live from the Primetime Radio studios in the Mobile Bunker, somewhere in beautiful New Jersey. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Pucks and Pitchforks blog contributor Vinnie Parise, as we're streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Vinny, I have a special announcement, and I want to tell you that Tori, if Anthony LaPena is listening right now with his daughter Tori, I wanted to say hello to you. I think she's about to turn 5 soon.
Hello, Tori. If that is true that you are about to turn 5 soon, happy early birthday to you. That is very exciting. We're here to bring you a great Devils pregame show here on Game Day Live, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. The Devils are the talk of the league right now. 5 straight wins. They're on the third leg of their Western Canadian road trip. They're going for the sweep tonight, Vinny. I'm fired up, and I know a lot of Devils fans are fired up about this game because we know this team is talented, but did you ever think that when Palat went out, they would rip out 5 straight wins in convincing fashion, and that, not overtime, that come from behind win against the Edmonton Oilers? That showed me something, Vinny. Showed me that this team has guts.
Yeah, I learned on Thursday night that the Devils, and we talked about this on the game, or on the Game Day Live of that game. If the Devils are down a couple goals, they are not going to be out of it against that Edmonton Oilers team. We said that. And I believed it the entire way through. I became an even bigger believer when Miles Wood scored one to get them within one. It is what it is. They were able to come back and get the win. I felt the same way about them, even had they not gotten, if they would have gone the other way and gotten a big lead. I think it would have not been safe. So you got to play hard, and they did, and they ended up pulling out one of the most crazy wins that this team has had in a long time. They played a pretty good road set of games there against the Canucks and the Edmonton Oilers there. Those two teams aren't easy to play against. There's a lot of skill. I know Vancouver's struggling. Edmonton is a good team. That's a quality win. And I think the way they beat Vancouver makes it a quality win. And even with the fact that like they bet but didn't break in terms of Vancouver coming back in that game, I think that's something that they can be happy about. And we all would have signed up for 2 out of 3 wins on this Western Canadian road trip and taking 4 out of a possible 6 points. But guess what? Now tonight, with the Calgary Flames in a couple minutes here, you have a chance to sweep it. And now it's like realistic, and it's just such a good feeling with this team, and I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, man. I mean, if you watched Devils After Dark after the game, after the Devils beat Edmonton, we're talking 1 a.m. Eastern Standard Time till 2 a.m., that Devils fans were going crazy, and they were coming in droves on all of our social media platforms. Everybody was chiming in. We had new listeners. We had our good old regulars like Ramona Rice, Anthony LaPena, Dave Singer, Big Steve Engel. Everybody was going crazy on YouTube Live.
Yeah. And
you also go to Facebook Live. Mike Rossi, happy Devil Saturday to you too. Everybody was going crazy. And the question is this team for real? And it's more than just it feels different. They did things differently this past offseason that they haven't done in years. Spend all the way to the cap ceiling. made some shrewd trades. I think that John Marino could be the most underrated defenseman in the NHL right now because the way he plays the game, he's more than just a defensive defenseman. The guy can move, and now he's got the green light from the Devils coaching staff to look for some of these forwards. It's no accident that he found Jesper Bratt wide open. And this was less than 7 seconds from Hischier to Marino to Bratt, tic-tac-toe, game over, practically.
And the wherewithal that Marino had to get it done in that moment and to make a stretch pass like that, you can't call him a defensive, like you could call him a defensive-minded defenseman, but you can't call him a defense-only defenseman. Not, even in his prime, Ken Danico's not making that pass, right? Nicholas Hjalmarsson in his day isn't making that pass. All the best defensive defensemen of their generation, like I'm trying to think of some guy like a Jordy Ben in his prime. He was a pretty good defensive defenseman. Obviously, I brought up Dano and Hjalmarsson. Those guys were unbelievable defensively. They weren't making that pass. You see Damon Severson make that pass. You see Dougie Hamilton make that. You don't see Ryan Graves make that pass, I don't think. And Graves made a nice play to score the goal to tie it. But, no disrespect to him. But, there are just some guys who aren't threading the needle like that, especially after the high of tying it late in the game. And I wanted to say something about Hischier. I'm happy that just by winning a face-off back to Marino, and it was like a face-off where he had to battle to win it. He didn't just win it cleanly. It was like a battle face-off win. So credit to him for that as well. But he was their best player on the ice the entire game by far. And he created so many good chances and they just weren't going in for him. And so to see him get a secondary assist by winning the face-off there, I was so happy about it because it was much needed. He is unbelievable. I think the sky is the limit for this guy. And, I want to see him get rewarded just as much as a Jack Hughes gets rewarded. I know Jack Hughes has more actual physical puck handling skills than Nico Hischier does, but barely. I mean, barely. Because Hischier is unbelievable and what he is able to do defensively and to make good plays where he's stealing pucks, he's disrupting things in the neutral zone. That stuff doesn't show up on the score sheet when you look at the final score at the end of the day. And so I love seeing him get rewarded. Winning a hard-fought face-off there earned him an assist. He easily could have had 3 assists in the game, and he's tied for he leads the team in goals. So, credit to Nico Hischier. We know Jack Hughes is going to explode and be that guy. He'll be in all-star games, and he'll be the face of the franchise for the next 10 years. But, man, is Nico Hischier really the glue that keeps this team together?
Oh, he definitely is. And it's just a pleasure to watch. And for a couple years now, I almost felt bad for Nico Hischier because he wanted it so bad. And he wanted to lead his team so much, but wasn't getting the results that he wanted. But now Devils are 8-3. Now Carolina temporarily, hopefully, had jumped over the Devils in the Metropolitan Division. Some of the Caniacs are kind of talking trash, but the Devils still have a game to play tonight. And they could end up being first place in the Metropolitan Division. And I think that's going to be a big accomplishment coming back to New Jersey. They do play the Calgary Flames on Tuesday night at the Rock. And don't forget, November 12th, a big event at American Whiskey, Vinnie. Big event. So big that I almost can't keep my mouth shut. But we've got a former Devil, also Stanley Cup champion, joining us. And I'm not going to reveal names because I like to talk to that person just so he knows what he's getting himself into when he comes onto the podcast at American Whiskey on November 12th at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, that's going to be very exciting for all the people that are involved. The things we're doing with this podcast and bringing it to American Whiskey with some of the guests that are showing up from time to time. Like, We've had Chico Resch. We've had Ken Danico. We've had, even on the other podcast, some of the names that have been brought in: Mike Emmerich, Steve Cangelosi, Bryce Salvador. I mean, you got to be there at American Whiskey on the 12th. Otherwise, you're not doing the Devils game right if you're going to the game, because this stuff is serious. It is good. The team is good. It's just a fun time right now with this team.
Sorry, Vinny, I'm having a little bit of technical issues on my end. That's why I went full screen to you.
Oh, okay. I could take it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you go ahead. For the listeners that are watching, I want everybody to know the dedication of Vinnie Parise and me. Not that we're trying to give ourselves a pat on the back like some other people do on social media, but we literally dropped everything in our lives to do this podcast tonight. We didn't bag it. We didn't say, we've done enough of these. We can take off one night. Just like our motto, there's no off season with this podcast. We don't take shifts off. And anyway, sometimes we just got to use what we have and sell what you got. That's a Bill Clement quote that he told me a couple years ago. How him and Doc Emmerich would screw up badly with technical. They had technical issues at ESPN back in the olden days before it was really ESPN, and he would tell me stuff like what they had to do to get through, and they had I think there was one period that Clement and Doc Emmerich had to deal with feedback in their ear for one whole period. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I mean, it would be tough doing this show with feedback in my ear the entire time. I can't imagine calling a national hockey.
I mean, I already complained about echoes.
Yeah, same thing. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
but
as far as the Devils game
is
today,
Jonathan Huberdeau going to the bathroom? Is he going to the bathroom today, Jonathan Huberdeau?
I'm assuming he's gone to the bathroom at least once today, would be my guess. I'm not sure. He's supposed to be playing on the top line with Elias Lindholm and Tyler Toffoli.
Yeah. You know the one I'm referencing, right?
I honestly don't. You're probably going to make me feel like a fool.
There was a Daryl Sutter interview, press conference, and they asked him, where did Huberdeau go? You don't know that one?
Yeah. I do remember that. I actually do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was referencing.
I do remember that.
Anyway.
That's funny. Wow, that's a blast from the past. Daryl Sutter with Huberdeau.
Yeah. I watched that clip like over and over and over and over and over again, and I'm like,
yeah, that's hilarious.
I still don't get sick of it. Yeah.
No, yeah, that's one of those things that's always funny.
All right, so where do we go from here, Vinny? I mean, I think the Devils are going to win.
Yeah, I think as far as the Devils game, I do think they're going to win as well. I'm interested to see how they bounce back from a game like the one in Edmonton where it ended with such a high. Like, they didn't even really have much time to process a lead at all. They were losing the entire game, and all of a sudden, after 7 seconds of game clock time, they went from being down one to up one. And that is just something that is so rare in the NHL, to go from losing to winning in 7 seconds. I mean, it's one thing to score 2 goals in 3 minutes or 2 goals in 5 minutes. The Devils Graves tied it, and then they went to the faceoff dot, won it, and scored on that rush. And that is just something that does not happen in the NHL very often. And another thing, Mackenzie Blackwood got injured while the Edmonton Oilers were on the power play last game. And let me tell you something about the Edmonton Oilers power play. It is all world. It is as good as any power play that ever existed in the history of the league, with McDavid and Draisaitl and putting a guy like Bouchard on it sometimes. And we know how good Evander Kane is, and a defenseman like Tyson Barrie or a defenseman like Darnell Nurse. These guys are awesome. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, incredible player. Edmonton is good. They're great on the power play. The first shot that Vitek Vanacek has to face in relief of Blackwood is a bomb from Leon Draisaitl. Boom. He scores. I'm like, here we go again. Vanacek is hurt. Blackwood comes in cold. Edmonton is just going to start steamrolling the Devils and kill any momentum that they had. Wrong. From that moment on, Vitek Vanacek locked in on that game, and he did not give up another goal. He made some spectacular saves in the second and third period of that game that kept the Devils within 2, within 1, eventually with the lead. Even after the Devils took the lead, he made a couple saves on McDavid and Draisaitl that I'm like, man, this stuff easily could just be right back tied up again. And Vitek Vanacek was able to figure it out. It's just something that is so impressive to me. And he's going to be the starting goaltender again for the Calgary Flames tonight. Akira Schmid backing up. And he was called up to replace Blackwood, who will be seen by a doctor in town on Tuesday. So he's back home. And it's exciting times for Vanacek, but we'll see if he's able to keep it up. That's the thing I'm looking at most in this game.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Tom Fitzgerald, his plan Bs have paid off dividends. We talked about Johnny Gaudreau, and the plan B was Palat and Marino. So far, it's worked out for the New Jersey Devils. Although Palat is injured, I still think he has a veteran leadership effect on this young team, and I'm so far happy with Palat. It's going to be a while before he comes back, but the team is doing fine, just fine without him. So I'm not too concerned right now. And, Vitek Vanacek was supposed to be the backup or fighting for that position with Mackenzie Blackwood. Well, that's why you have Vanacek right now. In case Blackwood, either he sucks or he's injured, which he is now, you have depth at the goaltender position. Plus, you've got Jonathan Bernier lurking. He's not ready yet, but he's lurking, itching to get back. So I'm cool with Akira Schmid or Nico Dawes in this situation. But Vanacek, it's his time to shine, and he went into beast mode after he gave up that power play goal. And I don't blame him for that power play goal that he gave up against Edmonton. Anybody could have coming cold off the bench against an elite power play unit. But after that, he said, guys, I got this. No more. You guys have to score, though. And the Devils did.
Yeah, and so to come in cold like that is not easy. Like you said, anybody would have given that up. Carey Price in his prime, Vasilevsky, Shesterkin, Brodeur in his prime. These guys are giving up power play goals to Draisaitl on the first shot they faced. Like, what? Who would stop that, to be honest with you? And Vanacek, he was good with the Washington Capitals. Like, there's a reason the Devils gave up what they did in order to get him, and now he's there. This is the reason they brought him in, was in case Blackwood got hurt or it didn't work out, and it ended up working in their favor so far. This is the difference between last year and this year, is good goaltending can make the team look even better than they are roster-wise. It's another year of Hischier. It's another year of Hughes, and seeing how good they can be as like a 1-2 punch, the Devil's two-headed monster, if you will, to copy what they say in Pittsburgh. But I mean, this Calgary Flames team, they're hard to play against, right? And it's in Calgary. They've lost a couple tough games in a row. They're pissed off. Speaking of Daryl Sutter, he is, a good coach who he gets his guys to buy in and they play a certain way, and they don't have Tkachuk anymore and they don't have Gaudreau anymore. But guess what? They went out there and they replaced them with the aforementioned Huberdeau. Jonathan Huberdeau is one of the best passers in the NHL. And there's a reason Florida's power play is struggling right now. Yeah, they got Tkachuk. Tkachuk is awesome. He doesn't drive a power play the way that a Huberdeau does. And I think Tkachuk is a better overall player. I'd rather have Tkachuk than Huberdeau. Barely, but I would. But Huberdeau on the power play, you can't take penalties against this team. It's very similar to Edmonton. Don't take penalties when a true playmaker, a true disher like Huberdeau is on that top power play unit, you don't want to take penalties against them. And they also got Nazem Kadri, who is like a diet version of Kachuk. So as long as those two guys are there, you don't want them running stuff. So hopefully they're able to figure out how to get it done against them.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, oh my goodness. I want to ask him on the YouTube Live. He's also the inventor of Beefalytics. Apparently, he's finding financial freedom by watching our BetStamp.app bit. BetStamp.app, official sports betting sponsor of Game Day Live. Apparently, he won some big bucks. Second period against the Oilers, I guess in the middle of the game, the money line was plus 1,000. And I think he put a boatload of money there and won some loot. Please confirm that. Oh my goodness. Did you win some loot in the second period? Because that's pretty amazing. If he's betting through the BetStamp app, I want to find out a little bit more.
Yeah, for real. That would be pretty incredible. Hell yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, he wrote a comment in the YouTube Live. I want to verify that. This is how we do things here on the on this podcast. We verify on live air. Anyway,
that's how we do things.
So Vinny, who did you pick to win, and where did you put your money at through the BetStamp.app sportsbook? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So using the BetStamp.app, the great app that is the one that we use to find the best prices for our games, I found the Devils on the DraftKings Sportsbook at plus 145, and I'm choosing them to win the game by a final score of 4-2. Put your money where your mouth is.
Wow. Put your money where your mouth is. By the way, oh my goodness said he won a little loot. Should have put more though. Yeah. It's you can't play Monday morning quarterback, but hey, if you would have seen what I did with Penn State with the BetStamp money, I bet a lot on Penn State against Ohio State, and it was just killing me that Penn State actually had the lead in the fourth quarter and then just blew it.
Yeah, and that's like,
and then I put $25 on John Marino to score that plus 1,500. And he almost had that goal. Gave me a heart attack.
yeah, and that's just tough because that's like your team. So betting against them or betting for them in a game like that and then having them lose the way that they did, that's tough.
Yeah. My picks. Devils win 4-2. Points bet plus 150. So we both have the Devils winning 4-2. Vinny.
That's good. That's perfect. I mean, we're in line there. Hopefully they're able to actually do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll tell you, because of the BetStamp app, I got plus 150 through PointsBet.
Yeah, exactly. And I love going on that app and seeing all the different prices that they have for what they got with each sports book and whatever. So what we found on DraftKings and PointsBet, I like the price on PointsBet even better. I didn't realize that. I mean, it must have obviously things change, but going up from 145 to 150 is nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Download it now, betstamp.app. Eventually, we're going to have our own QR code where you can help the podcast because BetStamp is really putting their money where their mouth is when it comes to the Let's Go Devils podcast. So hopefully we'll get that private jet very soon.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. All right, Vinny. Any last words before we go?
Yeah, I hope that the Devils are able to go out and continue doing what they were able to do in the third period of last game. I like, another little side bet. I finding this through the PointsBet app over Devils shots. It hits almost every game. So bet the over on shots, and hopefully they're able to do it because it's a moneymaker, and I hope they're able to put it all together and get a big win today.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank all those watching, listening in. Devils After Dark, after the game, Scotty at SiriusXM, Liquid Metal, and I will recap the game that was. Enjoy the game, everybody. Vinny, get that extra hour of sleep tonight as we fall back with the time. Tori, you're almost 5 years old. Hang in there. You'll get there. Till next time, this is Game Day Live. Let's go Devils.